Hello there, my friends. I have something shocking to tell you. I like orcs. A lot. So, why is this shocking? It's no secret that I love miniatures, but many people can come off as one-dimensional. At first glance, I may seem like an ancient, magical elf man, which is true. And as you get to know me, at times I may seem more like a goblin-y rat man. But inside me, and maybe inside you, there is an orc who wants to smash some things apart and smash other things together. His name is Basha, and this is what he looks like. You can think of Basha as my orc assistant, who has subtly guided me on many projects, so now we're introducing a new series of Basha's own orky videos, from Kitbashes and conversions and scratch builds to terrain and more. Orc culture is based upon where the biggest are in charge, so let's start by taking a look at some of the different kinds of orcs, with orc knobs, beast snagga boys, new orc boys, old orc boys, and who's this boy? He looks like an old orc boy who's learned to stand upright like a man. His posture no longer super exaggerated, instead he looks bigger, stronger, more agile, deadlier, more intimidating. He's even as tall as one of the new orc boys. And that's interesting because one of the biggest compliments people have, sometimes the only compliment, for the new orc boys kit is that they don't have the same old exaggerated posture that the old boys did. He even compares really well standing next to one of the new beast snagga boys. He's still no orc knob, but he does stand quite a bit higher and in a more dynamic way than a regular orc boy straight out of the box. Maybe we can learn the secrets of how this orc boy fixed his posture and became a much cooler looking warrior. We'll start our journey with the old 11 miniature multi-piece Ork Boys kit. Taking a look at the sprues, we'll choose a pair of legs and a torso, and then a pair of arms that we think would go well together. And a head too. Like most orc boys, he probably will need a head. We'll begin by scraping off the mold lines of each piece, which, for such an old kit, are actually not bad at all. It only takes about a minute or two to get the pieces cleaned up, but it makes a huge difference after you paint your models. When you have your pieces cleaned up and you like how they look, we're ready to begin. There are 3 steps to this orc conversion, starting with the legs. What we want to do is to separate the legs from the pelvis so that we can rotate the angle of the pelvis upwards to turn him a little bit more upright and a little less thrusting forward with the upper body. Even after getting the first leg off, you can see how just a little change in the angle can make a big difference for the posture. It's not a very difficult process, but be patient and make sure you have a good hobby knife to help you out. After you get the legs off, play with the angle a little bit. Dry fit the legs onto the pelvis to find something that looks good. You don't want to have him completely upright because we don't want him to be like leaning back dramatically with the lower body compared to the upper body. But if you just practice a little bit, you'll find an angle that looks great. I strongly recommend using plastic glue for this, plastic cement. Mine is by Tamiya, which is a wonderful Japanese company, because even after you apply the glue and put the pieces together, it still gives you a little bit of time to make adjustments and make sure you've got them how you want them to be before it dries. Now that's the first step, and even just comparing to legs still on the sprue, you can see it makes a big difference. The next step is the torso. As you saw, the orc legs have a socket, the orc torsos have a ball. With the traditional legs pitching forward, the ball on the orc torso is designed to keep the torso itself still somewhat upright. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice the ball off at an angle. This is pretty easy to do, although I messed mine up slightly, because the ball is a smooth and undetailed piece compared to the rest of the orc torso. Before we keep going with the torso, let's glue the legs to a base. This is just one of the bases that came in the kit, and just using more plastic glue, I applied to both the feet, set it on there for a little bit, and then apply some pressure to push the pieces together. Okay, with the ball part cut off of the torso, it's very easy to see the angle we want to make the torso stand upright. So what we're going to do is put some glue in the socket, put in the sliced off ball part, and just tilt that to where we want it to be. Just like that. Then we'll put glue on the torso part, and because the ball hasn't dried yet, it will still rotate a little bit, and you can adjust it to get the perfect upright angle for your boy's torso with his new legs. Now, we've got some scarring and gaps that will need to be filled, but we'll worry about that in a later video. For now, we're going to take a look at the third and final piece of our upright orc boy, the arms. The arms on the original Ork Boys are held very close to the body, but we want a more open, dynamic, intimidating posture. And we do this by visualizing how we want the arms to look, what kind of angle between the arm and the body, and then we'll use our knife to try and slice off half of that angle. Just like with the legs and the torso, take a patient, controlled approach to this. Slice off less at first if you're not sure. But what this will give us is the arm with a new angle and a little wedge of Ork Boy. We're going to put the wedge onto the body in the way that we want the arm angled, and then we're going to put the arm on over the wedge. And this lets us get exactly the angle we want without shortening our arms at all. It's still the same size of the arm for the Ork Boy, but it's just at a new angle. You can especially see from the back where you can't see the cut marks as much. And you can see what a huge difference it makes opening up his stance. It makes him look just bigger and more imposing. So, we'll figure out how we want his shoot-up positioned, and we'll do the same with that. Try fitting it to find a good angle, slicing off a little wedge, making sure if that looks like it'll work for us, and then gluing it together. It might be a rough process at the start, but after you've done it once or twice, it'll start to go really smoothly. For my guy, I needed to slice off just a little bit more, another teeny wedge, to give his arm just the angle I wanted. And that's it for our conversion. We repositioned the legs, the torso, and the arms to give us a much taller, much more open and intimidating looking Ork Boy. Now we just glue on his head in a way that seems cool. I glued it looking a little bit to his left to imply a little more of a sense of movement and, hey, what's that over there? And then we are done. He is a beautiful Ork Boy. He's big, strong, tough, and intimidating looking. Although one final step is if you have a miniature drill, I would drill out the barrel of his gun, his Shuda, because, again, after painting it'll look much cooler. If you don't have a miniature drill, don't worry about it. But if you like this kind of thing and want to do it, I strongly recommend getting one, and you too can be a wonderful Kitbasha. His arm broke off. I would recommend drilling the barrel before you glue the arms on. I forgot to in this step. But I just glued it back on, and he's just as good as new, if not better, now with his new, slightly more functioning Shuda. So, if you just skip to the end, the TLDR is, I like orcs, and we're introducing a series of Orky videos. If you don't know much about orcs, I would strongly recommend this video. It's very charming, although it does have a bit of adult language. We'll start this series by taking a look at the different kinds of orcs, the Kitbashas, get it, and conversions we do with them, and other orky stuff we make. As for this conversion in particular, well, I haven't played Warhammer 40,000 since the 1900s, but I have always loved orcs, both fantasy and the space orcs of Warhammer 40K, Their aesthetics, philosophy, and overall ramshackle wackiness have charmed me since the last century, and I want to share what I love about them. The old Ork Boys kit in particular is amazing, and it was first designed 25 years ago. There is one complaint, however, that you'll always hear about the old Ork Boys kit, and that is their posture. While I personally think the normal Ork Boys look fine, a lot of people don't like their exaggerated posture to look extra gorilla-like, with their upper bodies tilting forward and their lower bodies sticking out. If you're one of these people, this conversion is for you. Maybe you don't want to do your entire army of Ork Boys converted to stand upright, but maybe some special squads. Maybe you'll convert your own commandos. Maybe you'll make special knobs. I don't know. The possibilities are endless and it's up to you. If you're not one of these people, this video is still for you. If you find orcs interesting at all, if you've never heard of them, if this is your first time watching and you think they look cool, then this is for you. So while this video might be most helpful for people who already have orcs and love orcs, whoever you are, I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching, my friends. Take care until next time.